Hey, I'm in the middle of a recording jam. Hello?
Hello, gamer.
Sir.
I've seemed to find myself in a little bit of a bind.
Sorry, I was recording Neon Dreams.
That was some very great music you played there.
It's a new song I'm working on.
Oh, I would say it's very 1980s, very synthwave gamer.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't overplay too often. Just that one little part.
By the way, gamer, the collective has decided to reprimand me because they didn't necessarily want you to review Rad Racer without our operational attention.
Rad Racer, I played it, the Power Glove. Made sure to talk about the Wizard.
It's okay, gamer. I will stay in this cell for you, gamer. But you have to do me a favor. I see you have Outrun on your computer.
Yes, sir.
Well, the collective and myself need you to review Outrun.
Yeah, well, Outrun, of course.
We need to be reminded of our vacations to California back in the early 50s. Some of you might have called it the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
We appreciate your service, gamer.
How could I wouldn't forget Outrun.
Yes.
I will get on it as soon as possible.
We know you won't ever let us down again.
Well, thank you again, sir. Thank you.
Keep doing our bidding.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes. All right. Bye-bye. How could I forget about Outrun? Today, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest racing games and a really interconnected part in the racing genre. Outrun. Specifically, Sega Outrun for the arcade. Sega Outrun. What can you say? It was a groundbreaking game in the arcade. Of course, you had your Sega Afterburner, and you had a couple other... I think these were the first two racing games to hit the arcade in this fashion. Between Afterburner on the bike and Outrun, you were in a car. It was quite the experience, needless to say, for us kids. Now, I wanted to talk about this specifically because I had talked about Rad Racer, and in order to get to Rad Racer, you know, what year did Rad Racer come out? Let's see. What year did Rad Racer come out?
According to Wikipedia, Rad Racer was released in Japan on August 7, 1987. It was later released in North America in October 1987 and in Europe on January 15, 1988.
So there it is. Outrun came out in the arcade in '86. So once again, Sega was technically ahead of the curve with Nintendo. Now, at the time, Sega didn't have the resources to have their own system support this level of graphic. They had just the original Sega Master System out at that point in time. But right around the corner was the Genesis. It was coming right down the aisle. And the game was later definitely released on the Sega Genesis. Now, this is the lineage of game that led us to Cruisin' USA or Cruisin' World, or those games that came out later on in the arcade that eventually ended up on the Nintendo 64 that were favorites. Now, granted, that port wasn't necessarily as good of a port as this game was from arcade to Genesis, as those games were from arcade to 64, but that's a whole nother story. I mean, what can you say? As you see how this game works, I can see with the flickering. As a filmmaker, I could see how it actually is working, and how I could kind of see in my mind how they put it together. But it was absolutely brilliant, and it was really that precursor to 3D. It was our first kind of imagining in that position of being behind something that's going in that direction. Just so cool to see. You know, you're cruising along with your babe, probably cruising through the desert here, heading to California. I do believe there are some ocean levels. Now, as far as, now on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this game a 9. to be honest, because it was so groundbreaking. This and Outrun. In this one, you sat in the car. Outrun, you sat on the bike. And it was just such a cool experience in the arcade that none of us had ever experienced before like that. The arcades previous to video games were experiences that were interactive. I saw one that was a motorcycle game that you move the motorcycle around in this little thing and you got to move them around these real players and it's moving like this and it's kind of really cool. Needless to say, this was a classic. Go out, play it. Get yourself a Sega Genesis. Play the game. While you're at it, do me a favor and
Just please subscribe, please subscribe.